Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being genuinely well-informed. Today, we're going beyond just the headlines of a major sports victory.
Yeah, we're really digging into what it takes to succeed at the absolute top, specifically in the, well, incredibly demanding world of elite tennis.
Exactly. Think about the pressure, not just getting there, but staying there,
Yeah.
defending a Grand Slam title, especially after a year with some really tough near-miss moments.
We're talking about Aryna Sabalenka, of course, and her recent win at the 2025 US Open.
Right. And it's a story that's about so much more than just, hitting a tennis ball really hard.
It really is. We're looking into her journey, her mental strength, what motivates her personally, and we've got some great sources for this.
We do. Articles covering the win itself, pieces looking into her personal life, the impact of losing her father, her former partner.
And also this really fascinating academic study. It's from the University of Birmingham, and it looks at the lifestyle challenges, the mental health side for pro tennis players, stuff that often stays hidden.
So our mission today, for you listening, is to kind of unpack all these layers behind Sabalenka's win. We want to show you the unique pressures, sometimes brutal pressures, of elite tennis through her story.
And then connect that to what the science, this study, tells us about the hidden costs of living that dream.
Because her growth, her story, it mirrors a struggle that I think a lot of us can relate to in our own lives, dealing with pressure and finding resilience.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's dive into the win itself. Sabalenka defending her US Open title. Big stuff.
Huge. She beat Amanda Anisimova in the final, 6-3, 7-6. That third tiebreak point sealed it,
And that's her fourth major championship overall, her second straight US Open.
which makes her the first woman to defend the US Open since Serena Williams back in 2014.
Wow, Serena, that's some serious company to be in.
Absolutely. It just shows the level she's operating at. And the stats, they back it up, but it's not just about raw power this time.
Right. Like, even though this was her first major title this year, she's been the world #1, the PIF WTA rankings leader all season long.
Consistency. Plus, this win was her 100th Grand Slam match victory.
100 wins at slams. And she got a record prize money, too.
Yep, $5 million. Her overall winning percentage is up there at .794. .794. Only Iga Swiatek is higher among active players.
So 4 majors in 3 years. That's quite a run.
It really is. Very comparable to Naomi Osaka's run. She won 4 in 4 years between 2018 and 2021. It's that sustained excellence that's so impressive.
And what I found really interesting about this final wasn't just the score, but how she won it. Anisimova actually had a winning record against her coming in, 6-3.
Yeah, Anisimova is known for that clean timing, great ball striking. She can be really dangerous.
But Sabalenka played it smart, didn't she? It felt like she held back on the usual power game a bit.
She did. Only 1 ace in the whole match, which is low for her. And look at the stats. 13 winners, but only 15 unforced errors. Much tidier than usual.
Compared to Anisimova, who had more winners, 22, but way more errors, 29.
Exactly. So Sabalenka wasn't just trying to blast her off the court. It was more strategic. More like chess.
Okay, so less brute force, more strategy. And converting breakpoints was key, too.
Crucial. Sabalenka converted 5 out of 6 breakpoint chances. That's clinical.
And getting that first set seems massively important at the US Open.
Historically, yes. You said it earlier. 28 of the last 30 women's champs won the first set. So grabbing that 6-3 lead was huge for momentum.
Even when Anisimova broke back late in the second set, forcing the tiebreak, Sabalenka didn't wobble.
Nope. And her tiebreak record this year is just phenomenal. 20 wins, 1 loss, including that final one.
That tells you everything about her mental game right now, doesn't it? That clutch performance.
Absolutely. But that mental strength, that composure, it wasn't just automatic. This year tested her big time.
Yeah, before the US Open, she'd had some really tough losses in finals.
She had that Australian Open final against Madison Keys, losing in 3 sets. Denied the three-peat there.
Ouch. Then Roland Garros, the French Open, lost to Coco Gauff after winning the first set, another major final slip.
Devastating. 2 major finals in a row, letting them get away. And she said that French Open loss in particular led to a kind of epiphany.
Moment.
Yeah, she actually said, and this is a quote, "I thought that if I made it to the final, it means that I'm going to win it. I sort of didn't expect players to come out there and to fight."
Wow. So she thought it would just happen.
Basically, she admitted, "I thought that everything going to go easily my way," which was completely wrong mindset.
That takes some guts to admit, and that realization changed things.
Seems like it. She apparently decided during a holiday in Greece to really work on controlling her emotions on court. No more letting things spiral.
And after the US Open win, she said,
All those tough lessons worth this one. Sums it up perfectly.
that's really powerful. Going from just expecting it to understand you have to earn it, fight for it every single time. And it sounds like she really took ownership of that mental side.
She did. She mentioned working with a psychologist for 5 years previously, which is great, but then realizing she needed to, quote, take responsibility and figure it out by myself by thinking, analyzing, and understanding myself better.
That's a big step. Like, external help is useful, it's a tool, but ultimately that internal work, that self-awareness, that's the key. For anyone, really.
Totally agree. And you saw the result of all that internal work, that pressure release when she won, collapsing onto the court, the tears.
Yeah, that wasn't just, oh, I won, was it? It looked deeper.
Much deeper. She said later, this one felt like I had to overcome a lot of things. To bring the fight and be able to handle my emotions the way I did in this final, it means a lot. I'm super proud right now of myself.
You could feel the weight lifting off her.
Mm.
And that way, it wasn't just from tennis, was it? Her journey involves some really significant personal loss.
It does. And that adds another layer to her resilience. Her father, Sergei Sabalenka, he was a former ice hockey player. He passed away suddenly in 2019. Meningitis. He was only 43.
It's just devastating. And tennis was something they shared deeply, right?
Very much so. He introduced her to the sport when she was 6. She made a promise to him, to her family, to put our family name in the history of tennis.
And she's certainly doing that. He must have been a huge influence.
Huge. On her athleticism, her drive, her outlook. They had this shared dream, she said, that before 25, I will win a couple of Grand Slams.
And she did it. Wow. But losing him must have hit her incredibly hard.
Oh, absolutely. She talked about being very depressed, about how she couldn't serve properly for a whole year afterwards. But then she channeled that grief, used it as fuel.
Turning pain into motivation. And then, more recently, another terrible loss.
Yeah, in March 2024, her ex-boyfriend Konstantin Koltsov also died.
So incredibly sad. And her reaction then was similar, to push through.
Initially, yes, she threw herself into practice, devoting herself to hitting balls, and played the Miami Open just days later. That immense drive again.
But looking back, she felt maybe that wasn't the best way.
She reflected on it, yeah. So it kind of damaged my mental health at that point, and that maybe a better decision would have been to step back, reset, and recharge.
That's incredibly honest. It shows how hard it is, even for elite athletes, to prioritize mental rest when the instinct is just to keep going.
Exactly. And ironically, it was a shoulder injury later that forced her out of Wimbledon. She called it an accidental positive because it finally gave her that break she realized she needed.
Sometimes the body forces you to listen, I guess. But she has support off the court, too, now. Her current boyfriend.
Georgios Frangulis, yeah. He founded Oakberry, the Acai bowl company. Interesting story how they met apparently through a business deal first.
Ah, okay. And he's a big support.
She calls him my biggest support, says he helps her focus on joy beyond the pressures of tennis, which must be essential. He even admitted that watching her play from her box is incredibly stressful for him.
I can only imagine. Okay, so her personal story, the highs, the lows, the resilience. It really sets the stage perfectly for this broader look at mental health in tennis.
It really does. It leads us right into that University of Birmingham study we mentioned. It analyzed experiences from 65 pro players shared on a platform called Behind the Racket.
And they framed it using Maslow's hierarchy of needs, those fundamental human needs.
Exactly. From basic survival up to self-fulfillment. It helps show where the structure of pro tennis life can actually, well, undermine those basic needs for many players.
Okay, let's break down what the study found. 6 key challenges. What's the first one?
The first is physical and mental fatigue. It's right at the base of Maslow's pyramid physiological needs.
Just the grind of it all.
Yeah, the constant weekly travel from one country to another, different time zones, cultures, languages, an 11-month season with a tiny off-season.
One player mentioned going from New York to Tokyo to Moscow in a month. 3 different worlds.
Just relentless. Sounds utterly draining, doesn't it?
Completely.
Right.
Okay, challenge number 2.
Financial imbalance. This hits the safety needs level. The prize money disparity is huge. The top 1% earn more than half of it.
So for everyone else.
Most players are in varying degrees of financial debt. They're constantly wondering if they can even afford to keep playing.
We heard from that player ranked 350.
Right, the South African player. Said he was barely surviving paycheck to paycheck at 350 in the world.
It's crazy. And families often make huge sacrifices, remortgaging houses.
Major sacrifices. It really punctures that myth of glamour for everyone in pro sports.
Definitely.
Okay, number 3.
The social and psychological impact of living a nomadic existence. This affects the love and belonging needs.
Loneliness factor.
Exactly. All that travel makes relationships really hard to maintain. Partners, friends, family. You miss people for long stretches.
And only the very top players can afford to travel with their team, their support network.
Right. So many feel intensely isolated. One American player put it so well. Most people can understand how alone you can feel on a tennis court, but there are moments when you feel just as isolated off court.
Wow. That hits hard. Feeling alone even when you're not playing. It really does. Then, number 4 is the weight of expectation. This impacts esteem needs.
Because of all those sacrifices we just talked about.
Precisely. Huge pressure to succeed, to justify the sacrifices made by the player and their family, leads to this intense fear of failure, a feeling you have to repay them.
One player said his biggest fear was letting down his family and friends.
Yeah, and that pressure can actually kill the enjoyment of the sport. It becomes more stressful than enjoyable, a real trap.
So the pressure comes from family, from yourself. And the structure of the tour doesn't help either. That's number 5.
Exactly. Structural caused instability, also hitting esteem needs. There's no regular salary like in team sports. Everything depends on results, on that volatile 52-week rolling ranking system.
Which means you can't afford to be injured.
Right. Huge pressure to play through injuries. The study mentioned a Swiss player, top 10, who played for 9 months with a serious wrist problem to avoid surgery and dropping down the rankings.
And what happened?
Had the surgery eventually dropped to 350, players can feel irrelevant very quickly, especially if they lose early. It creates this skewed view where only the winners seem to matter. It's a tough system.
Brutal. And the final challenge the study identified.
Number 6 is mental illness. This directly impacts self-actualization at the top of Maslow's pyramid. Over 15% of the players in the study sample explicitly reported dealing with mental illness.
Things like anxiety, depression.
Yes, anxiety, panic attacks, depression, eating disorders. One American player described having a full-blown panic attack on a flight to Paris just from the stress and expectation.
That sounds terrifying.
And he said, you know, as athletes, you are always told to push through it until it's too late. There's often this culture of hiding struggles, not seeking help early enough.
So tying it all together, Sabalenka's journey, her finding ways to manage her emotions, taking responsibility, facing setbacks, it really is like a case study of navigating these exact challenges, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Her recognizing that wrong mindset, doing the internal work, learning to handle the pressure cooker of a final. It shows a path through some of the difficulties highlighted in that Birmingham study. It's not just about her talent, it's about that mental and emotional development.
And the takeaway for you listening isn't just about tennis. It's a reminder that even people at the very peak of their profession are grappling with fundamental human needs: rest, security, connection, self-worth. You're constantly under pressure.
Yeah, it really highlights that universal balancing act between ambition and well-being. Mental resilience isn't just nice to have in high-pressure fields, it's essential. Well-being isn't separate from success, it's actually foundational to achieving it sustainably.
So wrapping up, we've seen Aryna Sabalenka's amazing turnaround, transforming those tough lessons fueled by personal promises and finding that emotional control to win the US Open again.
And we've pulled back the curtain a bit on the often unseen side of pro tennis. The financial stress, the loneliness, the immense pressure, the mental health toll that many players face. It's not always glamour and glory.
Sabalenka said, all those tough lessons were worth this one. And you believe her, watching her celebrate.
You do. But it prompts a thought, doesn't it? In chasing greatness, any kind of greatness, where's the line? When do tough lessons become just unsustainable struggle?
Right. And how can the systems we create in sports, in work, in life, do a better job of supporting not just performance, but actual human well-being? How do we make seeking mental health support feel less like a weakness and more like a crucial part of any winning strategy? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.